for the course. I mean, how, symbolic is that? 4 of us, 4 weeks. Brilliant.
That's very synchronistic.
I love that word. I was trying to think of the word. You called it. So I know that Katie and Sarah know each other. Susie, do you know these two ladies as well? Do you all know each other?
Sarah and I have been sharing Zoom time on other courses. Katie, I've seen you before, but I don't think we've actually met.
I think I've seen you on a Julianne call.
Yes, probably.
Yes, I think I've seen you on a webinar, but I don't think we've chatted properly before.
No.
Okay. So what I want to do, so we've got 2 hours, right? And tonight, and I'm a bit kind of like OCD in that I will do a bit of like presenting and, a bit of slides and things, mostly because it keeps me on track, because otherwise I'll just go off at a tangent talking about something else. But it's not death by PowerPoint, okay? It is the 4 of us. And I really want you to ask questions, to be chattering, So the sessions are recorded and they won't be shared anywhere else. None of this will be going on my social media. So, what happens on the call stays on the call, if you like. So, feel free to be as honest and as open as you want to be. Equally, you don't have to share if you don't want to, okay? This is really a safe space for us to connect and support each other, okay? So if you turn up in your pajamas, I don't care. I'm not going to judge you if you're nice.
Literally in my pajamas.
That's absolutely fine. If you're sat eating dinner when we've got our calls, I don't, it's not, I don't care, but I don't mind, so please don't feel like you've got to stand on ceremony or anything like that. For me, the courses that I've had in the past, the best learning that I've experienced is when I connect with people, and I mean from like a learning perspective, not being the teacher, but, being able to be myself and be comfortable. And that's what I want to encourage you ladies to do as well. Okay. So I'm going to start off with my slides just to do the intro bit. So let me know if you can share my screen. No, wrong button. That's a great start. Hang on. You play fetch, my love. You enjoy it. Why can't I find... Oh, it's the big green button that's highlighted. Goodness sake, Julianne.
Too close to see.
It is too close to see. Right. Hide floating meeting controls. That's what I want. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I'm not going to put you on mute either. So, this is what I mean. It is quite relaxed. So welcome and thank you for joining me for Connected Cats. I'm so excited to be sharing this, and I have to say, I'm really glad that it's you ladies that are here with me. Familiar, awesome women that I know support and respect their cats. It's a really great space for us to start. So I'm not going to go through this bit by bit. You know who I am. You all follow me on social media, all your clients, all your friends, or we've been connecting for, a good few months. But what I really wanted to share is kind of why I created the course. And I did this a bit on a Facebook Live the other week. I talk about giving cats a voice, and for some of the clients that work with me, we do one-to-ones with the humans as well after we've worked with the cats. And, I really want people to kind of wake up to the fact that, when we want to connect with our cats more, we've got to connect with ourselves more. It's not just about the cat and the human, they're not separate. And as much as we are separate beings, we've got 2 legs, they've got 3 or 4, it's all about energy, which we'll come on to later in the course. But, I really wanted to share with people the fact that when we start to reconnect with ourselves, we can then have a deeper relationship with our cats. And this goes for dogs as well. This isn't just cat specific. This is any other animals that you've got, horses, guinea pigs, whatever it may be. But, cats are my speciality. So that's what we're going to focus on. And when I talk throughout the course about, when I say you and your cat, obviously, like Katie, if you've got more than one cat, I know Susie's got more than one cat, and I want to hear about Sarah in a minute. We're going to do a bit of a round robin. You know, it's not just one-on-one. It's not, you know, you with one cat. It can be any cat. It can be 3 cats, whatever. It's really about how you choose to interact and connect with them. Talking of which, is that Miss Scarlett that's just come to say hello? Yeah, thought it might be.
She's whinging because she doesn't like what I've put in her plate, but she'll have to wait till I've finished.
Oh, bless her. So tonight we've got a bit of like the kind of what's the word, like the I can't remember what it is, like housekeeping, you know, it's the kind of organization of things. To give you an idea of what to expect, really. Again, this is all kind of based on how I like to learn. So, you know, share with me if something doesn't work for you. Share with me if you want more, or, you know, like I said, use the questions, use the chat function. But I really wanted to kind of give you an overview as to what to expect. And so I'm going to talk to you about an outline of the course. I love that there's a cat that's muted in the background. I only said to a client today, I was like, I wish Leo would be more camera friendly, because when I'm doing courses and when I post online, I'm always like, oh, me and Leo, but he very rarely shows up.
Well, he knows about remote working.
So when I'm teaching, I bring something in called a group charter, which we'll cover in a sec. We're going to talk about how the course is going to run. I'd love to do a round robin to get to know you guys a bit more, and then we're going to head into module 1. So it's quite a jam-packed evening. What was I going to say? Let's get into it.
No, not.
Okay, so we've got 4 weeks and we've got 4 modules. So those are the order. That's the order that we're going to be doing them in: mind, soul, heart, and body, mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. And I've done them in that way because I'm trying to help you connect with yourself and then your cat. Okay. So as I put in the information about the course, you know, this isn't just about the cats, it's about ourselves as well. So the course is really about how much you get out as much as you put in. So if you turn up for the course and that's all you do, you'll still get something out of it, you know, but there is more. So I'm going to be giving you guys homework. Whether you choose to do it, it's entirely up to you. It's all optional. I would highly encourage you to do it, because you will build on the foundations of what we're talking about in the classes. You know, there's journal prompts. So you'll notice throughout the course, there's a lot of journaling. And again, that's because I'm doing that to try to help you connect with your inner knowing, to connect with yourself, and also to explore your connection with your cat. So if you haven't done so already, you need to get your journals for tonight, because you need your journal or your notebook, whichever. Excellent. Lovely, Sarah. Come on, show me on screen. There we go. Cat lady, lovely. Oh, she's got a sparkly cat one. Oh, beautiful, ladies. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. Mine's sparkly too. Do you expect anything less? So we've got some journal prompts, and you'll get the replay. So the follow-up emails will come tomorrow, all being well that the recording is uploaded and everything. And you'll have access to them for life. They'll be on YouTube. Only you guys would have the link. I'd ask that you don't share the link with others, because obviously you've paid to come and join this course, and like I said before, it's very, very private space, and I'm very conscious that I want to keep it that way. So I would ask you not to share the links with anyone. You've got the opportunity to review and revisit. Now, I know when we've done like the Calm Cats classes, the meditation classes, some people use the link, some don't. But with this, obviously, there's an opportunity to, because it's broken into the modules, you might feel in 6 months' time, you want to revisit the heart one, or you might want to revisit the mind one, you know. So I'm hopeful that the way that we've structured it, it gives you an opportunity to kind of dip in and out, not just over these 4 weeks, but later down the line as well. So homework, we will be talking about it like at the next module. So I don't necessarily want to know the ins and outs of what you've put in your journal. If you want to share it, I'd love to receive it, and I'm happy to hold the space for you for that. But don't feel like you have to, because I know it can be very, very personal. But at the start of every module, we will have an opportunity to connect and to check in, you know. So I want to be doing a round robin to find out how you've got on in the last week. You know, have you been able to do any of the homework, the journal prompts, or have you got any of the books, or have you done the meditation, whatever it may be. Again, share as much or as little as you like, but it's really important for me to support you as we're going through this course, because I know that when people work with me, it can be quite emotional. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. It can be a bit transformational for people, and sometimes that can come a bit later. So that's the reason, you know, we've got the WhatsApp group, so that if you do some journaling and you're feeling a bit like your emotions have shifted, or you're a bit like, God, I didn't expect that to come out, where did that come from, you know, that's what the group is for. That's what I'm here for, to help you through these 4 weeks. So don't feel like you're in it alone. Don't feel like, you know, as soon as the course finished, that's it, we're done. What I would say is, any messages that go in there, if I don't respond straight away, it's probably because I'm on a call or I'm with a client, and I will get to it as soon as I can. So, you know, it's not just about you connecting with me, it's about you connecting with each other as well. So, you know, the support is there for everyone. Okay, any questions on any of that?
Sounds great.
Okay. I feel very like school teachery right now, I must admit.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping for. That's good. That's good. So let's go on to the group charter. So this was something that I learned, God, let me think, about 8-9 years ago in my corporate job. Yeah, do you know what? It might be longer. That's quite scary. But it's really to say, like, what our expectations are of each other. You know, we're all grown-ups, we're adults, you know, and I want to see if we can sign up to be supportive of each other. So the whole point of the course for me is that, yes, you learn, yes, you grow, for sure, but it's also to have a bit of fun. You know, it's to explore yourself and your relationship with your animals, you know, with a bit of lightheartedness, with kindness and with joy. So be honest with yourself, be honest with us. You know, if you, like I say, if you're uncomfortable and you don't want to share at any point, that's absolutely fine. But just say so. You know, we won't take offense. It's not, I don't want us to be judging each other. If someone's gushing in tears, we hold the space and we respect that. You know, we don't judge them. We don't, you know, there's no laughing. There's none of that. You know, let's hold the supportive space. Ask questions as we go. So, like I said, this isn't death by PowerPoint. This is about us talking about, you know, how we're engaging together. So beginner's mind is a mindfulness principle. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, anyone? No. So mindfulness will cover, I think I've got a Leo fluff on the end of my nose. Bear with me. I can feel something tickling. I did have face cuddles before I came upstairs. Yes, beginner's mind is one of the, I think it's 12 mindfulness principles, and it's basically about coming into something with an open mind, you know, like you've never done it before. So you don't have any expectations, you don't have any kind of prerequisites, you know, you just sort of think this is a completely blank canvas, fresh start, starting from the beginning type thing. Have fun, obviously. I'm sure there'll be cats, you know, cat butts across the screen, you know, multiple times throughout the 4 weeks. Be honest, as I've said, and comfort breaks. So I'm not going to just talk at you for 2 hours. You know, if we go to start an exercise and someone needs to go and spend a penny or get a drink or whatever, just shout, we'll pause, you know, and then we'll reconvene. Do you know what I mean? I don't want anyone to miss out on anything. And I don't want you to feel that you've got to sit still for 2 hours, because it's a long time, you know. So, and I've got the bladder of an 80-year-old, so it's probably going to be me that needs a wee. I mean, honest, see, this is what you've let yourselves in for now, ladies. Cool. So let's do a round robin. So you guys kind of know each other, which is lovely, and I'm glad that there are those relationships there. But I don't know you all particularly well. So if you're comfortable to share, just kind of going through the questions, but introduce yourself, and let's get to know each other a little bit. So I'm not going to go first because I've been talking for 20 minutes already. So let's start with Katie, because she's at the top of my screen.
Hello, I'm Katie, the cat lady. I'm based in Liverpool. I have 4 of my own cats and a foster cat. So I've got Loki and Eris. I don't know if you can see Loki on the camera, but he's sitting on my lap. Eris is having a wash. Tristan's usually called Poppy, and Izzy. So the 2 older ones are just about to turn 12, and the 2 younger ones nearly 2. And then I've got Shiva upstairs, who's my current foster cat. Not really sure how old he is. He was found on the street. And you don't know any history about him. He wasn't chipped or anything, so who knows? At the moment, none of them have any medical conditions that I'm aware of. Shiva is massively shut down and withdrawn, but we're working very slowly to very, very slowly build up little bits of trust. So that's Shiva. So he's my second foster that I've had for my local cat rescue.
Is he in a separate place with than the rest of them, Katie?
Yeah, he's in a room by himself. Tristan comes in with him occasionally, just for a little bit, normally to see if there's any food to scrounge, which there isn't, and then he wanders off again. But no, he's by himself. And I sit with him every evening for a couple of hours. I don't try and touch him or anything. I just kind of talk to him, and I do some Reiki with him. So yeah, it's all a bit go here at the moment. So I'm doing cat grooming. I've just done my Psych Aromatica course and finished that. I've just done my Animal Reiki level 2 with Let Animals Lead. I'm doing acupressure at the moment for animals and feline behaviour, and I'm starting with Elizabeth Whiter next month as well, her healing diploma. So it's all a bit mental.
Busy.
Yeah, oh my goodness. The stuff behind the scenes and the admin is unbelievable.
Oh, Katie.
I am so tired.
Oh, love you.
It's ridiculous. So my goal is to be the cat lady in the Northwest. So if you've got like a cat and your vet isn't able to give you as much support as you would like, or you want a bit of extra stuff on the side, then I'm the person that you come to.
That sounds really dodgy. A bit of extra stuff on the side. The lady you come to.
Welcome to me. Yes. And because I'm a cat groomer, it sounds like I'm grooming cats on the internet as well. It's like grooming children, you know what I mean? It sounds really dodgy.
Grooming cats and carrying around little bags of herbs sounds well dodged, Katie.
Definitely.
I know, so it's well dodged, but yeah.
Sounds great.
So that's kind of my goal. I got into the sort of holistic side kind of via Julianne. She doesn't know this, but I kind of tell people she's my mentor sometimes. So yeah. Found her on Instagram early on and was like, what is this? You can give herbs to cats? What is this madness? This is amazing. And now I do it all the time after I've been grooming cats, and that my customers are always like, my cat likes herbs? What is that? And I'm like, it's valerian or chamomile or whatever. And they're like, what? My cat doesn't like catnip. And I'm like, it's not catnip. So yeah, I'm just trying to educate people on herbs, and
I love that.
Whatever. Everything.
If you don't follow Katie already, she's on Instagram. You should follow her because she posts pictures. I'm not sure if you're on Facebook actually.
I am,
yeah, she posts pictures of some of her clients, shall we call them, enjoying the kind of after effects, their little pamper session afterwards. And it's beautiful because even if it's just like a tiny little pinch, you see this beautiful cat. You sent me a couple of videos, and I never ever get tired of seeing a cat on a herb garden. So keep it coming, Katie. It's wonderful to hear that you're able to, hi Scarlett, that you're able to support many cats, and like you said, educate their guardians. I mean, that's just music to my ears. That is giving cats a voice, literally.
Yeah, I've got like 5 bags that I always have on me. It was 4, but I've added comfrey now because I've got quite a lot of older cats.
Lovely.
So I added comfrey. I've got chamomile, valerian, jasmine, and calendula in the mix plus comfrey because they're normally a little bit stressed out after grooming. And I just put the bags down and let them choose if they want one or none. And then I just leave a small amount, so it's like a little treat. So I use it like that instead of giving them like dreamies, or I don't take any sweets like that. Interesting. But yeah, it's really interesting. And then if people are like, oh, where can I get more? And I'm like, go to Naturally Cats, get a herb garden. So I send them all to Julianne if they want more info and stuff. And a few of my clients have bought herb gardens, which is really nice.
That's
I went today and my friend Lydia, she bought one off you, and she had them sort of scattered around the room when I went to do their claws today. It was really sweet. And I've got this, oh, she's a very tricky cat. She's been rescued, she's been rehomed a bunch of times. Oh, sorry, I'm going to shut up now. Long day, very long day. I've been to Huddersfield, it's miles away. She's got like this cat who's got aggression problems, and she's been rehomed so many times. And she's kind of on her last chance really, and the woman who's rehomed her is quite elderly, and she's on blood thinners. Jesus. So we have to clip the cat's claws, we have to trim them, because if she catches her owner by accident, it can do a lot of damage. But the cat is just so untrusting, and it's an absolute nightmare trying to clip her claws. But I've discovered that she's really into chamomile. So last time I left my bag of chamomile and just put a new bag in my pack, and then when I went round this week, she was still like an absolute nightmare, but we clipped her claws in one go. And when I got there, the human had put out a towel with some chamomile on before I got there. So she'd had it beforehand, and we clipped her claws in 2 minutes, and normally it takes at least 45 minutes to do the lot.
Wow.
Amazing.
And yeah, and she still hisses at me, and she still like has a little pop at me every now and then, but I don't mind.
Well, it's amazing to hear that you're able to share that with people and they're actually starting to listen. That's, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, we know that cats use herbs, but getting the humans to realize that's the magic. So, you know, well done you.
Good, I just show them. I'm like, here are herbs.
Yeah, there you go.
And the cat just goes, oh, and they're like, what is my cat doing? I'm like, it's enjoying the herbs.
Well, I really hope that you enjoy this course, and I hope that it in a way will give you some respite from everything that's going on. You know, it is an opportunity, like I said, to kind of connect with yourself. And you know, Elizabeth's diploma is amazing. I did that, God, again, I can't remember how many years ago.
It was you that turned me onto it.
Say again?
It was you that put me onto it. It was you that put me onto Nayana and Elizabeth, so they can both blame you.
Don't tell them that. Well, thank you for sharing, my love. It's really it's been really lovely to hear a little bit more about you. Thank you. Okay, Sarah. Sarah, that's going to take me a while. I'm sorry, my love.
Don't worry.
Sarah.
I'm Sarah Burton, and I live kind of between Tewkesbury and the Malvern Hills, so out in the countryside there.
Nice.
And I currently share my life with 3 cats and an extra, which I'll explain. So I've got Tiger Lily, who's 9, and she's my soul cat. She's just right from the moment that I first met Tiger, I knew that we already knew each other. So she's very special, and I believe that our souls have lived together before. She's just really, really special.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 rescues who are Myrtle and Noodle.
Awesome names.
And they're about, I think Myrtle's probably 5 or 6 and Noodle's about 3. And herbs and oils have really helped them in, you know, adjusting to life and putting their past behind them, really. All absolutely gorgeous. And we have another cat who's kind of decided to join us, but he or she is feral.
Oh.
So I've been building a relationship with it. It's been coming and crying in the night, or probably at least for 18 months. We'd hear this wailing in the night, so heartbreaking. And I would be out of bed, literally wandering around my garden in the middle of winter, just taking food out to this cat, and it wouldn't show itself, but it was eating the food. And this summer it's finally been brave enough to come in the daylight, and now I've got to the point where I feed it and it will come right to my feet, and that's just amazing. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's black and white, very small and hungry, very feral, but yeah, I'm so glad that I'm able to connect with it a bit better now and make sure it's okay and it's being fed and someone's looking after its health, really. So we'll see where we go with that one. I mean, everyone's sort of advice seems to be that because it's feral, it's probably best not to try and cage trap it and force it into a home situation unless a deeper relationship kind of grows, because it might probably stress it more to do that. But it's a bit of a quandary to know exactly what's best for the cat, really. And I don't like to think of it being outside in the winter, but anyway, I'll address that. I shall be investing in a nice cozy cat cabin for it.
We made one
I can
once.
Sleep at night.
Yeah, we made one once from a plastic crate. You know, we got a smaller plastic crate, we put some foam in around it and then cut a hole in it and put a blanket inside and put it in the back of the garden, God, years ago. You know, or you can get like small dog kennels and stuff, do you know what I mean? But you know, I've got so many thoughts on what you're sharing, but I would say trust your intuition. You know, you know what is the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think things are okay at the moment. I think it obviously asked for help because it started coming and crying, and I have no idea how old it is. And I kind of trust that it will ask for more help as and when it needs it. Yeah, because it is gradually developing a connection with me. So
yeah, and you've got a good few months before the weather turns. Exactly. Turns bad. Yeah. You know, feral cats. Go on.
Obviously, if it showed any sign of ill health, then I have contacts of people that would come and cage trap it for me. I've been able to scan it for a microchip, and I've advertised it. You know, I've done all the sort of responsible stuff that you do, obviously, in case it is a stray, but I'm sure it's feral. Yeah. Because having taken on strays, there's such a difference between a stray and a feral. So we'll see where we go with her. Yeah. So yeah, the reason I'm here really is because I'm starting to really, really explore vibration and energetics. So I've been learning with Nyana, and I'm about that close to qualifying, getting my certificate. Hey. But I've just so appreciative of how important vibrations are and energies and what you turn up with. So that's really, really what sort of caught my attention with this course, and being very aware of my own vibrations and energy as well. So I was really excited when I saw it, Julianne.
Excellent.
Really excited to be here.
That's brilliant. You'll love when we get, I think it's module 2 with the emotional scale and vibration. You'll like that bit. Lovely. Thank you very much for sharing. It's really great to hear the different reasons why you're all kind of turning up and why you've been drawn to this. You're absolutely right. There is a difference between feral and stray, very, very different. And, you know, unless you need to get it medical attention, then caging, I wouldn't have said would be a great way to go initially. Do more trust work, you know, use your aromatics as well, you know. I mean, I don't know if you've explored any like rose hydrosol or frankincense hydrosol.
What really helped with trust was I sprayed myself with rose hydrosol. It really loves that. Yeah. And I tried a few herbs. It's not quite at the stage for sort of engaging
ready yet,
with
no.
herbs.
No.
I've tried frankincense for fear,
Mm.
and it was indifferent to that, but rose is what's really opening the connection between us. So I'm just sticking with rose at the moment.
Yeah, very nurturing as well, very emotionally supportive.
Yeah.
So while the cat is in fear but also wants to connect, there is also like a fight and flight type of thing going on with them, you know. So I think that's the
it's very much full of the fire element, isn't it? It just, you know, that flight and flight thing. So yeah, Rose is the queen at the moment, queen of connection.
Brilliant. Well, if you manage to get a picture, you must, you know, of the cat, you must you know, share it so that we could see if it wants healing at any point. You know, it'd be lovely to see it.
I'll put it up in our WhatsApp group, because I have been able to get some beautiful pictures of it. So
lovely. Great.
Oh, thank you
very much. Okay, Susie, my love.
Hi, yes, I'm Susie Greaves. I was born and lived in Southampton, the New Forest area, until we moved over to Southwest Ireland in 2007. We now have a small holding with loads of animals. I have 3 cats. Minstrel is my black and white girl. She's now sat here instead of Scarlet. She's 13. She has asthma, but we haven't actually had an asthma attack. They diagnosed it as asthma when she had what really was a lung infection. But anyway, she's on the steroids and she seems to have stabilized. So now is the time that I'm going to start bringing in, try more consistently with her to get the steroids down a bit. She's on 3/4 a day. And in fact, that turns out already now to be about every 36 hours, not every 24. So she's not getting as much as the vets think she is. But if I could get it down to a half, I'd be happy. Anyway, she's doing all right. I have Brody, who is 9. He's been together with Minstrel since he was a tiny kitten. They both rescues. Well, they're all rescues. Minstrel came with her sister at about 18 months old. Sadly, we lost her sister, we think, to some country thing that I won't go into because it's distressing. But she was on her own. So then we got Brody and his mum, and he was a tiny kitten who had been left outside the vets with his mum and his sister. She'd already gone, otherwise we'd have had her as well. So we got the 2 of them, and then Jessie Cat sadly disappeared, and we did find out what happened to her. We think she possibly got run over. We lost her. So he's been with Minstrel since that time. So they used to be really, really good friends, but as Minstrel's got older, she doesn't want his attention anymore, which is not male attention, it's boisterous, let's play attention. And she doesn't want to know, and she runs away from him or bats him. Then I have Scarlet, who is 18 months. Brody and Minstrel have always been barn cats living in the garage outside. And then when Minstrel became sick, she came in. So we got Scarlet, in theory, to keep Brody company, but they don't like each other. And Scarlet's she arrived as an absolute nervous wreck, poor little love. She'd had a start where she'd been taken in by a lady, again left with her mother on the doorstep when she was a tiny ball of fluff. But the lady's way of socializing a cat is to leave it alone, which is a little bit strange. It's kind of what we do, and some. She just left her alone, whispered to her, and played with a feather thing. And that's all she did. There was no radio on, no television on, no other people. So she had that for a year. So when she came to us, she was totally unsocialized. And it took us 3 weeks to get her to come down off her high perch, just sitting in a chair, so she would actually have the courage to walk past the hand. If the hand moved, she was gone. But if you just let your hand drop and sat there reading, she would walk past. A year later, and with lots and lots of help from Julianne, she is now in charge, really.
Yes.
Of me, of the other cats, of the dogs.
Yes.
I don't think there's any way she's going to be going out to be an outside cat. That was the hope, was that she would go out and keep Brody company at night. They're all allowed in during the day, but we keep them out at night because they're supposed to be ratting. But and they have a nice warm garage to go into with lots of hidey places. But yeah, I can't see that happening. So we'll see where we go from there. So that's the guys. Why am I here? I got to know Julianne through Nyana. I've done Nyana's APA courses, and I work, work's the wrong word. I do some help for people within the community. Both, I'm a medical herbalist, having done my training over here. So I do kind of help people when they come to me, and that works for people and for animals. At the moment, it seems to be all about nutrition for dogs. People are asking me about how to get off, well, not how to get off the kibble, but you know, they're all a bit resistant to that, but how to improve the life with kibble. So we're working on what the different kibbles offer and which might be a better one, and gently trying to bring in fresh food as well. So that's what most of it's about at the moment. I am here because I've always loved my animals. I wanted to be a vet, and I don't have the science.
Me too.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? No way.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. Yeah, no, don't do science.
I love science.
These days, I'm glad I don't do science, because I've discovered emotions and energy, and I love it. And that's so what I'm wanting to get from the course is a lot more understanding of me and where I'm from, how I can operate within my own energetic level, and therefore open up more of what I'm giving and getting from with my animals and everybody else.
Lovely, thank you.
So that's that.
You do realize when you set any expectation about Scarlett, she'll blow it out of the park. So whatever, if you say like you think she's gonna be an indoor cat, she'll be like, Mum, hello, and she'll do something completely random. Do you know what I mean? Like something random.
Yeah, she probably will. She's
you know what she's
contrary.
like.
Yeah, she's very contrary. She has been out when it was so hot. She did stay out 3 nights.
Yeah.
But since it's got cool again, no, she goes out for a couple of hours in the evening and then stands at the door after the dogs have come in. But
she's keeping
yeah,
you on your toes, that one is. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, she's got like Sarah's saying, she's got right in. She is a very special cat. She's a special cat since I lost Willem. She's my special cat. Yeah. They do.
I find that hilarious that we all wanted to be a vet. That's kind of blown my mind a little. I mean, I'd be interested to see why, isn't that funny when we know we loved animals and that was the only thing perhaps that we thought we could do is to be a vet to care for animals, yet look at us all now,
Yeah. Well, that's all there was. I actually started my career, you won't want to know, as an animal technician in a laboratory at a hospital, which we were there in order to keep the animals as safe as we could. We were there for the animals. We were all animal lovers. But then when I left school, it was vet or vet nurse. And back then, vet nurse was just hold this, do that. There wasn't the technical things that there is in the job now.
Yeah.
And there was nowhere to go with it either. I tried to join the army because I thought maybe they would train me. And they said, no, we only train the men, not the women, because the horses are too big for women. You couldn't say that now, could they? They wouldn't be allowed. But that's what they said.
Yeah. Options change, isn't it? It's so funny where we think we've got to go, what we think are our only options.
What the options are, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I fell into photography.
Say that again, Susie?
And then I fell into photography. I married a photographer and I became a photographer and ran my own business for 25 years. And that stopped when we moved here. Then I got into the herbalism. And so now I'm doing what I always wanted to.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, ladies. It's been lovely. That's probably going to be my favorite part of tonight, is getting to know you all a little bit more. So thank you for sharing. So without further ado, let's get cracking on module 1. Okay. Anyone need a comfort break before I kick us off? No, all good. Okay. So we're starting with the mind because this is where I think we are a lot of the time, you know. Now, I am going to talk at you a bit here. So if you've got questions or comments, just raise your hand, you know, just so I stop, because I'll be in full flow in a minute. I never realized that there was like your head and your heart. You know, I never realized that there was like the emotion, the vibration, and the ego and the thoughts and the kind of craziness. You know, I just thought it was all the same. And in the last sort of five to 7 years, I would say, I've really become aware of the difference between the two. So I'm not going to talk about heart too much because that's a separate module. But the reason that I started with the head, with the mind, with the mental is because as humans, and I'm going to be slightly sexist, I think particularly women and nurturing women, you know, we're in our heads more and we want to be in our hearts. You know, we want to be that caring space, that giving space, you know, but actually we've all got families, whatever that looks like. You know, we've all got people or animals that depend on us. We've got jobs. But most of all, we're trying to help other people in whatever way that may be, whether that's through our day jobs or our hobbies or whatever. And I think it's really important for us to talk about how much we can get stuck in our heads and how sometimes we don't even know that we're stuck in our heads. So in the last few years, there's been a lot more talk about mental health. You know, mental health has become a lot more common ground for people, for society, you know, whereas I think perhaps a generation or two ago, it wasn't really such a thing. You know, if you've got any form of mental health, you just get on with it. You know, you don't make a fuss. And I think it's really important that we talk about what goes on in our heads. You know, we come from eons ago from, you know, our minds were what kept us safe. You know, our ego, and I don't mean in terms of like, oh, I'm better than you type ego. I mean, the part of our brain, our ego, was the part that kept us safe because that's where all the fear came in. You know, don't go out of the cave because you're going to get killed by a dinosaur or whatever it may have been, you know, a woolly mammoth. That just makes me think of Ice Age, the film, but you know what I'm trying to say. You know, the fear is really important because it keeps us safe, but it can also keep us paralyzed. So what is it? What do we do with our heads? You know, what goes on? Now, when I deal with human clients, I talk to them about the head and their heart, and I do separate the two. Now, it's not in terms of trying to get you to disassociate, nothing to do with that. It's actually in terms of trying to get you to connect more. Because what I don't think we're doing enough is saying, where is this coming from? Where is this thought coming from? So we see the little box on the side, thought, emotion, behavior, story, repeat. So as women, as you know, friends, family members, daughters, wives, sisters, whatever the roles are that you play, people have expectations of us, and we have been conditioned to be a certain way. That's what society does. That's what our families do. That's what our families do. You know, that's how life evolves. But what happens is that we have a thought about something and it triggers an emotion within us. Now, we could, if we had capacity, sit with that thought and that emotion and either let it pass through us or sit and work with it, which again, we'll come on to in a little bit. And then just let it be. But generally what happens is we have a thought, it triggers an emotion, and then that leads to a behavior. So let me think of an example. So I used to get called a grumpy teenager when I was younger, right? And if someone calls me that now, I get very activated, I get very triggered, because what I didn't realize was at the time I was an introvert and I was an empath, and I was picking up on a lot of stuff from a lot of different people, and I didn't realize that it wasn't mine. I didn't realize that I could let it go. I didn't realize where it was coming from. So I was quiet a lot of the time. That was perceived as moody. That was perceived as grumpy, you know. So, you know, there's me having a thought about myself, like I'm overwhelmed, for example. You know, the emotion is then, I don't know what to do. So then I go introverted, I go quiet, because I'm trying to process what on earth is going on in me, what I'm feeling. And then what eventually happens is the bit in between the behavior and the story is generally where we get input from other people. So this is where people would say to me, God, you're really moody. Why are you really quiet? And, you know, I think it's about 2 years ago, I had a meditation class here. One of my mum's friends was here. And I can't remember what happened, but she said, oh, it's just classic Jules, you know, being a grumpy teenager. I'm like, I'm 35 years old then, not now. I'm like, I'm 35 years old or 36, whatever I was at the time. Like, you can't call me a grumpy teenager, you know? And I got really triggered, and I was steaming mad when the class had finished, didn't let anybody know about it. But when we'd finished, I was talking to Rob, and I, you know, all this emotion came out, because I was like, that's not who I am anymore. You know, I felt so misunderstood. But the bit about repeat is because unless we recognize these things about ourselves and either accept them or let them work through us and let them go, it repeats. So it's not just us that has an impact on how we are, it is other people, but you do have a choice. You know, you have a choice as to what you turn from a thought into a behavior, and they're different. You know, you can think that you're worthless. It's not true. No one is worthless. But how you behave, how you practice self-care and self-love, and I'm not worth it, what's the point? You know, that's the bit you've got accountability for. So when we think about our head and our mind, the mental chatter, it gets so noisy. It gets so noisy. You know, and this is where anxiety comes in, because the noise just gets big. You know, there's like a little seed or something that's like, you know, you can hear a little voice in the back of your head about, because someone said so and so, like, oh, you're fat, or you're ugly, or you're too loud, or you're too quiet, or whatever, right? Whatever someone said to you that's then planted a little bit of a seed, and you can either choose to let it grow and it will take over everything, and then the anxiety starts to come through because there's the doubt and the worry, or you can sit with it and see how that makes you feel. And that's not always easy. I know that. I'm not sitting here just like on my pedestal saying, oh, it's really easy, just let go when someone upsets you. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we've always got a choice. Always. It might not be a choice that you like. My sister and I used to play the choice game when we were younger, and it was like, would you rather live in the armpit of a sweaty giant or in between his big toe and his second toe? Right, neither is a very cool option, but you always have a choice. You know, you can choose what you're letting in, what you're letting stay in there as well. That's also important. So I'm going to talk a little bit about social media, because social media can be brilliant. It can be awesome. It's a great way to connect people. It's a great way to learn. I'm a big fan of social media, like 80% of the time. But sometimes it can make you feel really crap, because you're comparing yourself with others, because you're looking at what this other behaviorist did, or this other healer did, or this other herbalist did, or this other cat mum, or, you know, whatever. But what you do and who you are is absolutely enough. Whether you feel it or not is irrelevant. You are enough just as you are. But what happens, what sticks with us, what stays within our heads and eventually ends up in our hearts are the things I've put on the side. So trauma, bad experiences, you know, pain, things that have been really hard and upsetting for us. They're not easy to just journal on and let go. But you can start to think about an experience, think about perhaps some trauma or some pain, and start to unravel, start to gently let that pain or sadness or whatever it may be, let it in. Because as we'll come on to energy in another module, so you'll hear me, the modules will overlap a little. But what happens is when we experience trauma or pain, it gets stuck. If we don't work through it, if we don't work through the emotions, it gets stuck. It gets stuck in our body, it gets stuck in our energy, it gets stuck in our chakras, our aura, all of it gets stuck and it gets icky. It gets really, really icky. It gets thick. And that's sometimes where physical manifestations of pain can come from. Now, I'm not saying all pain is caused by blocked emotions. That's not a sweeping statement that I'm making. What I'm saying is, if you've got a lump and a bump, or, sometimes, there's a belief that cancer can be caused by blocked emotions on a very severe level. It's a brilliant book, which I'm not sure whether it's a module 1 book recommendation or module 4. I had to split them up because there were so many books I wanted to recommend. It is module 1, How to Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Amazing book. Katie's nodding her head, loving that. Absolutely brilliant book. I read it every probably 3 to 4 years, and every time I take something else away from it. So if you haven't read it, highly recommend you get it. It's not a prerequisite to read before the next module, don't worry, but it is a really good book. Yeah, quite. No. None of the books are like that. It's not a book club, don't worry, Sarah. But Louise does talk about, self-love, and she talks about blocked emotion. She talks about how blocked emotions can lead to physical problems. So I guess really, I hope that your takeaway from this is everything that goes on in your head is real. Everything that goes on in your head is valid, because that's how you think. That's what you're going through. I'm not sitting here trying to dismiss it. I'm not trying to sit here and say to you, it doesn't matter, just get it out. But what I'm saying is you don't have to choose to go along with it all. So one of the things, sorry, bear with me. One of the things I want you to think about doing, and this is one of those homework activities that I'm going to say, I would really strongly advise you to do, because it's really, really helpful, is to name your heart and your head. So if any 2 names come to mind now, I want you to write them down. So I've got a client of mine who's got Bertie brain and Hattie heart. I think that's brilliant. My brain is called Brenda. I'm not going to share with you my heart's name, but I would really encourage you to name them both. And if you're comfortable sharing either today or in the group or next week, someone's encouraging. That's a big yes. The dog.
Hang on. Minnie.
That's Minnie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, Bubba.
Okay.
She's an advocate of the naming the heart and head. I love that. Yes, mum. Yes, mum.
Yeah, Minnie's my my rescue dog. She is a bit reactive, so she might join in from time to time.
Love that. She is more than welcome. Absolutely love it. If you need to tend to any animals at any point, people, just give us an audible pause. If anybody needs letting out or food or whatever it may be, just say, okay, because they're important and they come first. So I would encourage you to name your heart and your head. And when we've got the journal prompts, so you've got journal prompts at the end of each module, and there are some journal activities in the modules. And I want you to think about writing to them or from them. So people that work with me as a one-to-one client, we will generally have journal prompts at some point, but also there's usually a point where I will encourage them to write either to their head or from their head. And I actually do this regularly. So recently I've been suffering with some anxiety. I'm like, I don't want to feel this. What is going on? Where is this coming from? So I will sit, and in my journal, I'm like, Brenda, over to you. Literally, that's what I write. And then it just all comes out, everything I'm thinking. And it's all like, I don't know, let me think. Okay, so for example, the course, 2-3 weeks ago, I was like, no one's going to want to sign up to it. I've priced it wrongly. It's too short. It's too long. Who am I to think that I can teach other people? No one wants to hear what I've got to say. The content's really crap, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I know that's not true. But Brenda had her moment in the spotlight with her microphone. She had that moment to say everything she needed to me. And then I wrote, and I always do this. If I write from one, I write from the other. And I generally do head, then heart. Because when I wrote from my heart, she said to me, because both of mine are female, she said to me, you're perfect as you are. All your experiences people want to learn from. You've got the capacity to help people to grow. You're a really nurturing soul. People are drawn to learn from you. You can help them to expand. It all comes from a place of love. It is exactly as it needs to be. You see the difference in those tones, the difference in that language, or the stories that are coming through. Hugely different. But if I hadn't had the chance, or given them the chance to say, right, Brenda, for me, Brenda is like, she's like in her 80s. She's really hunched over. She's got Nora Batty like thingy bobbies in her hair. She's got a really holy, and not like righteous, I mean like, ripped cardigan on. She's really pointy finger. She talks with like a really funny voice. I've made her a person because I need to hear her. I need to let out what's going on with her, and to think like, oh, it's just my head, it doesn't work for me. So this may or may not work for you, but I would really encourage you, don't dismiss it until you've tried it, because I found it hugely powerful, and so have a lot of my clients. And then I looked back through the journal, and after I'd journaled from my heart, I read again what Brenda had said, and I'm like, oh my God, that came from me. I was thinking that. It's shocking how toxic our mind can get. And unless you give them the mic and you give them the opportunity to share what it is they need to say, and to identify actually where it's coming from. I don't know about you ladies, but sometimes I feel like I'm chasing my own tail, because I'm thinking things, I'm feeling one bit, and then it just, I feel like a bit of a mess. Tell me I'm not the only one that feels like that at times.
Oh no, all the time.
Good. Not good that you feel that way, but good that I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I get really bad overwhelm a lot of the time.
Yeah. I reckon it'd be a really powerful experience. Either when you're in a state of overwhelm or anxiety, or when you're not, either way, trust me, in the next week, there'll be an opportunity for you to do it, to give the mic, to give the pen to Brenda, Bertie, whatever you decide to call them. And like I said, it's really not about disassociating. It's actually about connecting you. But by separating what you're hearing and what you're feeling, it helps you to get a bit of clarity. So you can do this about, I don't know, because it's a Tuesday, you can do it whenever, or you can do it about something. You can do it about a topic. You can do it about a previous trauma, a previous bad experience, or an event that's coming up. If you're anxious about something in the future, do it about that. I guarantee it. I would put Leo on the line and say that your heart will never, ever tell you something bad. It will always tell you exactly what you need to hear, but it will always come from a place of love. When we talk in the other modules, about our spiritual side, about our inner knowing, our intuition, we're not particularly going to go into like angels and stuff in this course, but, whether you believe in that or not, angels, beings of light, whatever it may be, even your own intuition is a powerful source. It's connected to the universe. Again, whether you call universe God, Allah, Buddha, whatever, I don't care. But, there is a knowing within you that will never steer you wrong. So do head and then do heart. Let the noise come out and then let that noise be calmed. Let that noise be heard and then let that noise be loved. So trauma, pain, physical, emotional, mental, they can be really harrowing for us humans. You know, we're complicated things. I mean, you know, the range of emotions that we have is phenomenal. And the amount of emotions you can feel in 1 second is still blows my mind, you know. I don't know if you've watched the Harry Potter films. Give me a nod or a
Some of them.
yeah. There's a bit where Hermione says, you know, about this one girl that's kissed a boy, and she's like, oh, can't you imagine what she's going through? And you know, the Weasley boy says, well, what do you mean? And she's like, well, she obviously feels guilty about this and upset for this and sad for that and happy about that, da, 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 da. And then the boy goes, how could one person feel all those things at once? And she says, just because you've got the emotional range of a teaspoon. I love that line. But it's true, right? How many emotions can we feel in one second, you know? So what gets stuck up here is the negative ones, the lower vibrational ones, which we'll cover next module. But doubt and worry are with us all the time. You know, in instances we don't even expect it to be. And the reason that I'm talking about this is because this is what comes with us when we go to our cats and our animals. You know, did I do that right? Was that enough? Did I do that the right way? Am I going to be on time for this? Did I leave them feeling upset? Should I have done more? All this doubt and worry, those are the two things that we, constantly have on repeat. Is that going to be the right thing for tea? Did I take that out? You know, am I going to make it to swimming on time? Should I have put more on those slides? Did I leave that client feeling okay? Was the cat okay? What should I do with the dog? When am I going to take the dog for a walk? It's like never ending, you know? So before I go with the rest of the slides, what I want us to do is, with that in our heads, with that thought that our brains are like this, I want you to get your journals and we're going to do our first exercise. So, oh, did someone just take a picture? Katie, I thought, yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. You're going to get, warn me about that. I'm
Yeah, I
not.
do it all the time. I always take screenshots.
Oh, woman, I hate having my photo taken. Tell me, because I can hide.
I just do screenshots and I just put them in my Dropbox. It doesn't go anywhere.
That's fine.
Never get scared.
No worries. You'll get the slides anyway. You'll get the slides per each module.
No, I get really paranoid that I'm not going to, so I always just take screenshots.
Okay, fine. So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. So until 1:15, right? So you don't need to rush. And I'm also going to pop to the ladies. So I want you to get your notebooks. I want you to get your journals, and I want you to write down everything that is going through your mind, whether it's thoughts about the course, thoughts about me, thoughts about people here, thoughts about today, tomorrow, next week, whatever. I've put these prompts on the side just to give you, if you need something to help it flow, to help start the thoughts. But I'm going to put you all on mute, and I want to give you to 1:15. I want you to do like a brain dump and put everything down that comes to mind. Okay, just another minute or two. Okay. So just wrap up the last few bits that you're writing there. I'm going to ask you just to come off mute. Okay. So we're going to do another quick round robin in a second, but I don't know about you. I feel like I could have been doing that for like 25 minutes to get everything out. It just it's surprising how much is going through my mind, even though I'm, kind of in the zone with sharing with you guys. So let's do reverse order. Let's start with Susie. How did you find that exercise?
Well, actually, it was interesting because I think I'm getting better at clearing I've always been able to concentrate on what's going on. So my mind wasn't racing on other things because I'm concentrating on what I'm doing from that point of view. But the thoughts going through my head was, is Minstrel okay? She sat here beside me and she looks a bit grumpy, seems a bit agitated. So my immediate worry is about her. And then I hope I can sleep well tonight. I'm tired. I didn't sleep well last night. I was up at 5.
Oh, bless you.
So
it's a shame it's not calm cats, because I know you always sleep well after that.
Yeah. And I wish the noise of the computer would stop. I'm in the office and Francis has a big server here and it just goes.
Oh dear.
But then actually that came back with, it's not such a bad noise. It's okay.
Okay.
It's low and it's a bit like a train journey. Just
Okay.
going all the time.
Yeah.
I got a numb bum. And I hope I'm not fidgeting. Because I know how annoying that is.
No, you're not. But whilst we're talking to the other ladies, I suggest you stand up to even alleviate the numb bum.
That's a good idea. Yeah. And having felt that I don't have so much going on, I've been playing with Minstrel and she's now feeling a little bit better, I think.
Nice.
She's
beautiful. She needs connection with her mummy. That's what it is.
Yeah, she's waiting for me to go and sit on the sofa.
Yeah.
That's what she wants.
Lovely. Thank you. Okay, Sarah. Sarah, for goodness sake, I told you.
Don't worry. Perhaps I should just come up with a completely random name that's completely different.
Let's call you Florence or something.
Yeah, that'll do. We'll go with that. Flow. Go with the flow.
I love that. Okay, Flo, over to you.
Yeah, I was surprised at how kind of after a couple of thoughts, my mind was quite empty, but then I started not worrying, but thinking,
why is it so quiet?
Yeah, how my mind has gone blank, I've put. But I do find that sometimes my mind does that. It kind of goes blank as a protective kind of thing, which isn't necessarily healthy, I know. So then I wrote down, breathe, it's okay, and will I get the hang of this?
Oh, bless you. Have you journaled much before? Have you ever journaled before?
Not in this respect, not for myself, no. But I did have, the first couple of thoughts is Minnie okay that my attention's been distracted for so long? And is the stray cat outside waiting for me.
Mm.
I'm so glad I know the ladies on the course. I'm not feeling quite so shy as I would otherwise have done. And then I put, help, my mind has gone blank. And then it all goes wrong after that.
I love that. I love how you've been so honest. Thank you. It is refreshing to hear. It is, and it's all just so normal. It's all so normal to hear that, you know. And the journaling, you can't get it wrong. Like I said, the reason that I've given you prompts, because sometimes people need, like the sentences, I need to journal right now because that's what we're meant to be doing. Sometimes that's how it comes out, you know. And if you can give yourself, which we'll talk about at the end with the homework, but if you can give yourself, you know, even if it's just 10 minutes to allocate it to journaling, more will flow. And I hope Susie doesn't mind me sharing, but as we've been working together and she's been coming to Calm Cat meditation, you know, I know that she's been putting into practice journaling and finding quiet time and connecting with herself more and more and more as we've worked together. So like she said, she's finding it easier to do because it's a muscle, you know, it's a muscle you've got to connect with. Your intuition, it's always there, but it's something that you need to train yourself almost to connect with. So please don't worry, you know, I'm really glad that you actually wrote what you did, because even that in itself is connecting the mind, the heart, your being with the pen and the paper, and that's exactly where you've got to start. So, you know, well done. You did a great job. Really good. Okay,
Thanks.
Katie.
Just a lot.
You probably a bit like me, I imagine. Like I could do them in 20 minutes.
Yeah, the upshot is there's a lot going on and I need some help. But I haven't figured out how to delegate and how to manage money to do that. And I'm just worried about crashing and burning and that I can't get sick again. And then it just brought up loads of like past stuff. So yeah, I mean, I ended up working with cats. I don't know if I've talked to you about this, Julianne. How I kind of ended up here was I have a degree in biochemistry and neurobiology, and my original career was just tell me if I'm just going on as well.
Sorry, I was just doing a time check, a couple of minutes.
I started off, I worked for years in scientific sales, and then one day I collapsed and was taken to hospital, and I had really severe endometriosis and my kidneys were shutting down and my bowel was a mess, and I had a whole bunch of surgeries. I had a stoma for a while where my intestines came out my stomach. I lost a kidney, all kinds of stuff. I can't have children, all these things. And then I was kind of bedbound for about 2 years and I got chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And then I was like, I was starting to recover a little bit and I wanted to do a bit of work, and my friend ran a cat sit company and I started working for her originally, and then realized, oh, you can work with cats without being a vet. And then do my own business and kind of ended up here. But I just get worried that I'm gonna get sick again, and that, you know, it's taken every time I have like a flare up of the fatigue and the fibro, it's so hard every time to kind of get through it and kind of pace and start again. And I just worry that I don't want to lose my momentum and that I'm gonna lose everything, because I lost, just before I got sick, I lost like everything went wrong. I got divorced, my gran died, both my cats died, my rats died, I was made redundant twice, I took an overdose, oh goodness, if there was something, I had to sell my house and move back in with my mum and her husband, who I really don't get on with, and it was just a nightmare kind of 5 years, and I just can't go back there again.
Yeah, and that is exactly what we were talking about with, you know, previous trauma, you know, and that being part of the fear that keeps us stuck. Like you said, you don't want things to change because you're worried, you know, that it could lead to what happened before, you know. And when we come on to the other modules, your intuition and your heart will guide you with what's best for you. It might not seem like you understand what it's saying or where that's going to lead or how that's going to help, but slightly going into the next module. But, you know, we shouldn't worry about the how, because that's what the universe works out for us. We need to say what we want and how, and follow what we're led to do, and then it will work its way out. But that's easier said than done, right? You know, when you've got to, you don't want to quit your job because it feels like the right thing to do when you've got to pay your mortgage. You know, sometimes you know, it's not as straightforward as just listening to your gut instinct. But I really think that the journal prompts will be good for you, Katie, in the coming weeks. I know you're super busy, but I am going to say, like, if you can, out of all the homework that I give you guys, and there's not a huge amount, but out of all the homework, if you can find time to do those at least once, I think it'd be really good for you. I really do.
No, I will. I'm if I do a course, I do a course, and I'm invested in it. So
yeah. Well, thank you very much, my love, for sharing with us again. You know, the kind of honesty coming from
love to you, Katie.
Yeah, absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth, Sarah. I was just about to say, you know, the amount of honesty coming from you ladies is really inspiring and really touching, and I'm feel so honored that we've got a safe space that you feel able to do that. So thank you, everyone. So the last bit in terms of me talking at you is really about change, and where I've put here about fear of getting it wrong. You know, fear is great. It keeps us safe, but it can also keep us stuck. It can keep us, for example, you know, I was stuck in a job that was no good for me. You know, I had to have 2 long bouts of, long-term sick from work before I had that slap on the face and realized that I couldn't do that job anymore. You know, and now I've never been happier. I'm broke, but I've never been happier. I'm joking. It's a very different lifestyle, but I've never been happier. You know, sharing courses with you ladies, this is such a far cry from what I did before. I was a benefits manager, for goodness sake. You know, I had to work with a corporate company to figure out what their benefits were from each project. It was so corporate, and I was so scared that I wouldn't be a success if I left. And when I told Rob I was quitting my day job after being off for 5.5 months again on long-term sick, he said to me, well, it's about bloody time. I've been waiting for years for you to tell me that. I'm like, well, now you tell me. and you know, there've been some really scary days in the last 18 months, but I had to choose, you know, and I chose to believe that I would make my business a success. I chose to believe that the people I wanted to help would find me and would gravitate to me. You know, I don't have hundreds of people yet on my lives, on my classes, on my courses, but do you know what? If I did, it would scare the shit out of me. Not being funny. I'd be freaking out, right? Because it'd be huge. You know, this is my kind of happy, connecting with women, supporting women, holding the space for women, and connecting that with cats, you know. So the fear of getting it wrong can keep us stuck. Fear in itself can keep us stuck. But I really encourage you ladies, like, in the next week, if something feels really scary, if it feels really, really scary, it probably means you should do it. Now, God forbid you come and tell me next week that, you know, you've quit your job and you've changed your mortgage provider, or you kicked the husband out, or whatever. I take no responsibility. But on a serious note, when things feel really scary, it's usually because it is a big change, and sometimes those big changes are needed. And actually, I quit my job, and 2 months after I did that, I had an email from Niana, who'd just done a live with me once that I'd spoken to via email. Then we did a live on Facebook. I had an email from her 2 weeks later saying, do you want to co-author a book with me? And I'm like, whoa, you know, things have a way of working themselves out. If you don't know what to do in the big picture, in the big scheme of things, just try one little thing, try one little step. You know, in life, change is constant. And I don't just mean as humans, I mean everything, the cycles of nature, the tides, the moon, you know, all of it. It's all cyclical. It all changes. And we change. And we can either choose to hold on to what came before, or be stuck, or be tied to or driven by what came before, or we can take a breath and try something new. And then, like I said, the size of that step doesn't matter. huge one, a little one, but take a step forward, whether it's a hobby you're interested in, or, you know, flow with the remedies, you know, whether you want to try something new, you know, trust your intuition. It won't guide you wrong. You might not understand it, but it won't guide you wrong. So the mind can be busy, it can be noisy, it can also be trained. When I started my meditation classes a couple of years ago, you know, I used to use the analogy, I don't know why I chose a dog, but it really felt right at the time, being the cat lady. Well, actually not the cat lady, because obviously that's Katie, but you know what I'm saying, a cat lady. The mind is like a puppy. So you can let it free roam, and, you know, you will get some consumed by anxiety or fear or worry or doubt or dread, you know, or you can choose to practice some self-love, and you can train the brain, you can train the mind, whether that's from journaling, whether that's from meditation, mindfulness, and anything in between. It doesn't really matter. But starting to think now, which is why we're talking about module 1 with the mind, how is this affecting you right now? You know, what is going on in your head? Do you feel like you're always constantly thinking about like 50 million things? Do you feel like you're always like going down a bit of a cycle, a bit of a, what's it called? Oh God, spiral.
Yeah.
It's bath time for me normally now, so my brain and my body is like, wind down. Like, do you get lost in a spiral? Do you think about something, and what if this happens, and what if that happens, and then you end up going down and down and down and down, and you just get lost in like what was one thought? You know, I do that. You know, oh no, Susie's bored. Okay,
oh, I'm
right.
just tired.
Oh. So the last thing I'm going to put on here before we do the next exercise is, when you're looking to deal with previous trauma or previous hurt, there's a tool that I found very helpful. I'm not going into it too much, it's on one of your activities as a research for homework. It's called Ho'oponopono. Has anybody heard of it? Katie has. Yeah. No. So I think it's Hawaiian. And you research it, even if you just do a Google on it, but it's to help you. It's a forgiveness prayer, basically, or forgiveness mantra. And I've done this many a times with either a situation or a circumstance or an event that happened, but I've also done it when I've been trying to deal with like you know, blocks, whether that's emotional blocks or money blocks or anxiety, whatever it may be. And I'll write a list of everything, you know, everything that's on my mind, everything that's causing me anxiety, or everything about this situation. I felt this, he did that, she said this, whatever it may be. And then basically I work with Ho'oponopono, and you say, and it's in no specific order. Write it in my diary. I think I did my, no. You say, thank you, I forgive you, or please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And then sometimes people say, I release you. But it's all about basically like, you take responsibility for what happened. You thank the other person for their responsibility for what happened, how you learn, what you felt, and you let it go is the crux of it. And it can be great. If you've got a list of things you're angry about, for example, or something like, if like your other half driving you nuts, and you want to write down, you didn't do the dishwasher, you didn't do the hoovering, and you feel really like with them, write it all down, and then do the Ho'oponopono. Sit and either say it out loud or say it from your heart, and then either put the bit of paper in the bin or burn it in a fire pit, you know, health and safety, obviously, or get rid of it, you know, cross it through, whatever it may be, but let it go. You know, let it come through you. So feel the situation, feel the emotion, feel the anger, for example, acknowledge it, thank the situation for being a lesson or whatever it may be, and then let it go. So that's just a tool as an aside as to how to deal with, you know, blocks and stuff that might be going around in your head from a mental perspective. We will cover other things in another modules, but that's just one for tonight.
Thank you.
So, okay, so now I want to do a little exercise. So Tristan's gonna have to wait No, it's fine. So it's a mini meditation. It's not very long, but basically I want you to put your diaries and journals and things on the side. If you haven't already, pop your phone on silent. I should have said that at the beginning, really. Okay. So it's really quick. I'm going to just pop you on mute again, just so there's no distractions. Okay. So this is something we will be doing at the beginning of every module. So the next 3 modules. This is something that I teach my one-to-one clients. This is something that I've talked about in Talk Tuesdays. This is something that I am trying to get out there in the world, because people talk about mindfulness and, you know, list 3 things you're grateful for and stuff, and people don't have the time. I know that sounds bonkers, right? People don't have the time. But for me, this will take less than 5 minutes. You can do it for longer if you wish. We're going to do it for about 5 minutes tonight, just because I want you to feel into it. But you can do it for a minute. And I tell you, we'll talk about how you feel after we've done it, and you can see the impact that it has. Okay, so just getting yourself comfortable and crossing your legs. Getting comfortable in your chair and closing your eyes when you're ready. And just taking a nice deep breath in and out. And putting your left hand on your heart and taking another deep breath in and out. And putting your right hand either on your sacral chakra, just below your belly button, or on your tummy, whichever feels most comfortable. And again, taking a nice deep breath in and out. Just taking your awareness now to the sounds around you. The sounds in the room or sound just outside. And just letting the breath settle in the body. Feeling your heartbeat under your hand. Feeling the breath and the movement of your body under your other hand. And just breathe. Allow the mind to race, allow the eyes to flicker, but just breathe. Bringing your awareness in towards your breath. And just notice the breath coming in and the breath going out. The breath coming in and the breath going out. Just breathe in this moment. And if the mind starts to wander and unravel ideas, just kindly bring your awareness back to your breath. Feeling the heartbeat. Feeling the movement of the body. Just being in this moment. Just breathe. Putting your hands together in your lap. Taking a final deep breath in and out. And opening your eyes when you're ready. There's no rush. Okay, just gonna come off mute and let me know how you feel. Sarah, let's start with you.
Yeah, I feel more inside myself, feel more grounded.
Good.
And I feel bigger.
Good.
not in a bad way, just feel bigger.
Good.
If that makes
Good.
any sense.
Yeah. Bizarrely, yes. Good. Katie.
Just like I've taken a big breath. Yeah, everything was kind of running into one another. So just take that step back a little bit. Yes.
Oh,
Beautiful. Susie.
Sorry, I'm asleep.
There she goes.
Oh,
Don't set me off.
Yeah.
yeah, it is contagious. Yeah, no, I mean, it's I look forward to those moments because it is relaxing. It's good. I can't feel my heart with my hand because my boobs are too big, but I do start to feel a rhythm in my body, which is nice.
That's it. To be honest with you, it's more about connecting you with your body in the moment, because we're doing some, our bodies are doing stuff all the time, but how often, unless we're having a massage or like healing treatment, do we connect to our body in that moment? So I did that for a couple more minutes. I probably did more of it. That's usually how I start off the calm cats, but you can just literally do 3 breaths. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. And again, hand on your heart, a hand on your tummy or your sacral chakra. It doesn't matter. You can put your hands on your lap. You can put your hands on your legs. Put your hands in a prayer position, whatever. Another deep breath, and then a third one. So really, it's 3. Essentially at its core, it's 3 deep breaths. That's what it is, and it's bringing your awareness to your body, to your breath, and to sounds around you. And you start outward and you come inwards. So it's not a 20-40 minute meditation. It's literally, if you did it as it says on the slide, it's like a minute, and then you could obviously hold that breath, as in like hold that moment for as long as you wish. So depending on how busy your head is, Katie, I'm looking at you, you might need to do it for 5 minutes. If you're just about to go to bed and you're feeling okay, you might want to do it for 1 minute. So again, this is something else I want you to think about for the next week. And when you feel like you've not got time to do it, it's probably the time you need to do it. Okay. So we've got one more general exercise before I wrap us up. So I just want, before I go to that, I'm just going to finish up with this bit. So we've talked about, our mental health. We've talked about what goes through our minds. We've talked about how our minds can be really, really noisy, or can be nice and calm and quiet. And we haven't talked as much today about our cats, and that will come in the next few modules, because this is really about knowing where you are. And we've got to start with you, because you're the human. you're the human that feeds the cat, you're the human that, you know, gives the cat herbs or treats, or, you know, whatever it may be. So we've got to start with you, because you're like the gas mask, you know, when you're in the airplane, it says put your own mask on first. You know, we've got to start with you, which is why we've talked about potentially where your head could be at and how you can help yourself. So everybody is different. That's the beauty of the humans in this world. We're all completely different. We might have some similarities, but we are all different. So, you know, I meditate every day. I have to, because otherwise I'm evil. My husband's like, do you need a nap? You know, do you want to go meditate, babe? Because I'm grumpy, I'm short-tempered. You know, I've actually got overwhelmed. You know, I get a headache. You know, I have to meditate every day. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. I mean, you know, last week I was out there for an hour and a half. Other days, like 20 minutes, I come in and he's like, oh, has it not worked very well? I'm like, no, I just can't switch off, you know? So I'll try and sit on the edge of the bed and do calm connection instead, and just connect with my breath rather than actually meditate. So it's going to be different for everyone, but I want you to have a think about, you know, what works for you in terms of your mental health, self-care, because we all need it. Whether we're all doing it is another matter. So, you know, have a think about in the next week when you're doing your journal prompts. In fact, I think one of them is about what do you need? Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what they are right now, because otherwise you'll start thinking about them. But, you know, listen to your head, listen to your heart. They are giving you different messages, and it's important that they're honored. And, you know, you can be as woo-woo as you like. You can meditate with the moon cycle. Yeah, exactly. You can meditate with the moon cycles. You know, I mean, every new moon I set intentions, and every full moon I will bin, you know, I'll write on bits of paper and bin it or put it in a fire pit. You know, that's as much as I can manage. I don't do quarter moon and, you know, first quarter moon and stuff. Those are the two things that I can do to have new moon wishes and to get rid of crap that's in my head and my heart and my body. You know, you can do the calm connection, like, you know, on the bus. You can do it when you're waiting to pick the dog up from the kennels, or before you go into the dentist. You know, you can journal because it's a Monday. It really doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong. The only version of right and wrong is what you need, and that is what you need to honor. And that's what I encourage you to take the time to do. 5 minutes every day, you know, half an hour a week, whatever. It really doesn't matter, but do something. Do something to be kind to yourself. Do something to help and nurture yourself, because you'll see in the coming modules how that affects your cat, how it affects your relationship with them, how it affects their behavior, their emotions, and a whole lot more. Okay, so last journal exercise. Very similar, I hear you say. Yes, it is. Because now we've done the module, we've talked about calm connection and things, you've explored a little bit about what's going on. I want you to think about the cats. I want you to journal. In fact, don't write everything down that's on your mind, because we did that a bit before. Have a think about doing those 2 questions so we can bring in the cat element. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'm going to pop you guys on mute. Give you 5 minutes to do those 2 questions. Sarah's got a question. Hang on, unmute.
Sorry, Julianne, my internet connection has gone strange, so I've got a split screen and I can't see the question I'm supposed to be asking myself.
Okay, how am I currently showing up for my cat?
Thank you.
And then what type of cat mum do I want to be? Oh. Okay, can you see them? No, let me put them in the chat. Oh. Okay. Right, I'm just sorting the tech out. Hang on. Oh, for goodness sake, Julianne. Right. Okay, so let's do a quick round robin. Come off mute. Susie, let's go with you. Susie, my love, you're on mute.
I think I'm pretty constant. I'm trying to work at their pace. I get frustrated because they won't be friends. I do worry that I'm not always giving Brody enough. The girls definitely get more because he's outside and he's the one that sets them off, although he doesn't mean to. Yeah. Cat mum, I want to be one that means they can all express themselves safely.
Lovely.
And that they don't have any problems caused by me not being on the case.
Interesting.
That worries me. I want to be a super mum.
Yeah. That might be a common theme.
Probably. Quite possibly.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Sarah.
How am I showing up for my cats? Well, during this session, they've definitely felt my energy levels come down and be calmer because they've come into the room and got into that space with me. And I know lately I've had a few things going on and I haven't perhaps spent as long with them in that space where my full emotional attention is with them. But I've written, I feel positive that Julianne can help me change this.
Oh, bless you. Absolutely.
What kind of cat mum do I want to be? I want to be the best possible, but for each individually, because the best for Tiger isn't the same as the best for Noodle or the same best for Myrtle, and it's completely different for the feral cat. So
absolutely,
I want to show up as the best for each one of them individually.
Beautiful, thank you. I told you, Susie, that would be a common theme. That'd be the best cat
Super mum.
Yay.
Okay, Katie.
So with my 4, I'm trying to make sure that they get good nutrition, lots of love and playtime. They get Reiki as and when they need or want, and they get access to like hydrosols and mostly if they want. And with Shiva, I'm trying to go at his pace and not put my agenda on him. I want to pick him up and love him and tell him he's safe and cuddle him, but I have to keep pulling back from that because he's not there. But then I do worry, well, should I push it a little bit more? Am I holding back too much? So yeah, that's my worry with Shiva. And as a cat mom, it's very similar. I just put as practical and as good as possible. Listens to their individual needs because they're all so different. Give them the power over their lives and choices where possible. But for me, I like having them as indoor cats because that helps my mental health more. But I do get some guilty pangs about it. So I am still thinking about trying to save some money at some point when I can to build a catio so we can have like a compromise.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you very much. Ladies, I would say you are all doing the very best that you can. What you're doing now is enough. And I spoke to someone last week and she was talking about, mum guilt about children. And I think we experience that as cat mums. you know, I always think, God, I should be doing more for Leo. I need to get him off the steroids. And, you know, why does he run when the doorbell rings? And what more can I do for him, you know? And we have to take comfort that what we are doing is the best that we can, whether that's in terms of like our knowledge or our time or our capacity. What we'll talk about the next few weeks might help you change that a little. But in this moment right here, right now, with everything you know and everything that you are an awesome cat mum. And I want you to hear that. So this is the end of the module of the class. So this is your homework. So a couple of books that I recommended. Like I said, you don't have to read them before the next week. There's a meditation practice. So yeah, I did. I created with the first lockdown a 21-day meditation program. And so if it says like, you know, welcome to day 7 or whatever it is, it was a 21-day program, but the meditations are great and I use them quite a lot with different clients. So the meditation is a guided meditation from me. It's less than 10 minutes. It's using a mantra and the stillness I can breathe. Really recommend you do it over, you know, once at least over the next week. I want you to name your head and your heart, and if you're comfortable sharing that next class, then great. If not, don't worry. Research Ho'oponopono to have a look into what it is. It might be a useful tool for you. If you don't feel drawn to it, don't worry. If you're like, oh, that's interesting, you know, we'll give it a go. And then there's your journal prompts ready for as part of your homework as well. So hang on, I'm not going to stay on the journal prompts. When it comes to journaling, like I said, you can't get it wrong. All I would say is try and give yourself 10 minutes minimum to sit and do one question. You know, you don't have to do them all in one go. 2 of them are repeated because I want you to do them later in the week. You know, I want you to practice some of the things we've talked about, you know, calm connection, meditation, even just being with your thoughts and being aware of how you are. You know, you don't have to do it all. Do what you can manage. You get your follow-up email tomorrow with the recording, the slides and all the bits and pieces. So just before we wrap up, I've just pulled a cat card for all of you whilst you were doing your journaling. It's from a deck called Lessons from a Cat. They're brilliant. They don't come with a booklet or anything, so the words on the card, that's all you've got. But I hope that it gives you meaning and it gives you something to think about. So Susie, you were first. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see. Oh, it's super bright. I think it's my mood lighting. Yours says, don't be afraid of falling, you'll land on all fours.
Oh,
can you see that one?
Yeah, you're I can only see a quarter of your screen, but yeah.
You can only see a quarter of my screen?
Yeah. I don't know why. Am I the only one that's doing that? I can see you above with all of the rest of us.
What view have you got? Have you got gallery view or speaker view?
You can change
I
your
haven't changed anything, but yeah, it says speaker view. Let's go to full screen. Oh, okay.
It's because
really
you're
big
talking,
now.
Susie.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Yeah.
I'll send you the picture anyway.
Thank you.
Sarah, yours was be playful with a paw and a ball of string. Which I did think that was quite interesting actually, after you were saying about, you know, you felt relieved that you knew people on the course, you weren't as worried about it, you were wondering what to do with the feral cat, you know, you hadn't spent the time with your other animals this evening because you've been doing this for you. So I do think that card was, you know, was quite interesting, quite a good choice for you.
Do you know what, when I had a Reiki session, it was quite a few years ago, it seems to be a recurrent theme, have more fun, be more playful. So
find more joy.
The universe is trying to tell me.
That's obviously a lesson you've not quite nailed just yet.
No, God damn.
Brilliant. Okay, and Katie, you got be present and focus on now.
Yeah, fair play.
Which again, I thought that was quite funny because you'd been saying about how worried you'd been and thinking about, you know, you need to get help and the courses. So I thought that was quite interesting as well. So there we have it, ladies. End of the first class. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I imagine you'll probably feel quite wiped, and that's normal. Not only obviously is it 2 hours, which is quite an intense time, we do a lot of energy work, you know, journaling in itself is energy work, you know, so whatever else you've got planned for this evening, you know, be kind to yourself as you go about the rest of your day or what's left of it. And, you know, try not to feel guilty for the fact that you've taken some time for yourself. Do whichever bits of the homework that you're drawn to. Excuse me, you've got the WhatsApp group to reach out and connect, you know, in between our next call. Any questions or concerns or anything else, just get in touch. And I thank you all for being here with me and can't wait to see you again for the next module next week. Take
Thank
care, my
you.
loves, and I will see you all soon.
Yes, it was lovely.
Take care, ladies. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.